Broadcasting from down on the bayou, it's the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, powered by Lake Area Media, LLC. And now your hosts, David Boston and Patrick Fry.
And welcome to episode 122 of the AMP Wrestling Podcast. I'm David Boston. He is Patrick Fry. We are back in this Patty Fry.
Yeah, that's right. We've been gone for a couple of weeks now. I guess we never really said, hey, let's take a holiday break. We just never.
It just organically happened.
Yeah, it kind of did organically happen, but that's okay. The last couple of weeks, I'm sure was busy for everyone.
There's a lot of things going on. You were on vacation. We had a lot of sporting events.
Yeah, and just, like I said, during the holidays, everyone's got family functions to go to, people to go see, this and that, holiday shopping, whatever the case may be, and whatnot. And obviously, after the new year, everyone kind of hits the reset button one way or another. And this is actually one of my favorite times of the year because it's kind of like not much happening, at least obviously in our personal lives, work has kind of died down a little bit with all the stuff we got to do extra. That's kind of died down a little bit. Football season's kind of winding down, so that opens up a lot of free time for me personally because, I'm always stuck to the TV watching, football, at least college football. College football is coming to an end next week, but still looking forward to the NFL playoffs and whatnot. But it is an exciting, yeah. It is an exciting time of the year for pro wrestling. There's actually been a lot happening here over the course of the last week that we're going to talk about here coming up on the show. And obviously, one of my favorite wrestling events, actually my favorite wrestling match of the year, the Royal Rumble match, coming up here at the end of the month, and then that'll start WrestleMania season. Also, a big AEW pay-per-view coming up at the beginning of March. So it's going to be a really fun time of the year for pro wrestling here, and obviously a lot of big things happening in AEW. A lot of things to talk about, just like I said, over the course of the past week with Wrestle Kingdom, Day 1, AEW's debut on TBS last night, and then also, of course, a big NXT show that happened this week as well. So we're going to talk about all of that. But do you want to go ahead and do the sponsor first?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Everybody show some love to our Amazon affiliate link. It's real simple. All you got to do is go in your browser, whether it's on your phone or your computer, and just type in tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP, Amazon AMP. That's going to send you to our Amazon affiliate link. And that's exactly what it is. You buy stuff from Amazon, they give us a commission. There's no extra added to your cost. It's just, Uncle Bezos says, hey guys, thanks for sending traffic our way. Here's a little commission. And when I say little, I do mean little, but every bit helps. And that is a free way that you can help out the podcast. tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP. Save it on your bookmarks on your browser, whether it's your phone or your computer, so that every time you go to Amazon, you're hitting our affiliate link.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it here. So the rundown here for the AMP Wrestling Podcast, episode number 122 for January the 6th, 2022. Boy, I can't believe I just said 2022. But day 1, obviously the New Year's Day pay-per-view or a premium event now is what they're calling it, or some shit like that. That happened obviously on New Year's Day. We'll talk about the results of that. Also this week, Wrestle Kingdom. I believe this year Wrestle Kingdom was actually technically 3 nights. According to Wikipedia, it happened on January 4th and January 5th, and then night 3 is going to be on January the 8th here in a couple of days, but a lot to talk about there. Also, Braun Breaker, the new NXT champion. We'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. And then, of course, AEW that had their inaugural TBS broadcast with Dynamite last night. We'll talk about what happened there. And then some more WWE/NXT releases. Some superstars, a lot of personnel releases as well. So just when you think maybe the releases are going to cease, well, WWE has other plans in mind. And also a big story last week. A lot of people were talking about Big Swole's comments on the diversity in AEW, and Tony Khan kind of clapped back at her. We'll talk about that as well. And then, of course, Rumor Mill, possible Jon Moxley return date, WWE sale details, plans for Jeff Hardy before he was released, and is Ric Flair getting signed by AEW? That's all coming up in the rumor mill, and then everything else we're going to talk about here coming up on the AMP Wrestling Podcast, episode number 122 for January the 6th, 2022.
Find us on your favorite social media platform, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We are there. Just search AMP Wrestling Podcast. Before we get into it, Patrick, you know I love when I'm right. And a couple made it official. I don't know if it was on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, but they made it official. Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti are now a couple, and I told you he was balls deep in that.
Well, it's funny because as soon as Sammy Guevara announced that him and Pam, I think was her name, that were engaged, their engagement was called off, a lot of people started going after Ty Conti, and she had to kind of delete or suspend her Twitter account, I believe is what she did. So I'm not trying to take away any, rightness from you, Mikey, but I think a lot of people out there were speculating something was going on with Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. And granted, you were one of them as well. So, but it drew Ty Conti to, and apparently, I don't know, people were calling her a home wrecker or whatever the case may be, but it drove her to have to get off of Twitter. I don't know if she ever came back to Twitter or not, but she definitely deactivated her Twitter for a little bit there when everyone was kind of, giving her shit for possibly being the reason why Sammy Guevara and Pam broke off their engagement. But Sammy Guevara ultimately came out and said that, the engagement was broken off back in, I think, October of last year. And
because he was nailing Ty Conti then.
Well, I mean, we can't confirm nor deny that. I mean, now.
Oh, I can confirm that.
Well, and I will say this now. Looking at Ty Conti, I can't say I blame Sammy Guevara, but granted, it wasn't made public that Sammy Guevara and his fiance called off the engagement until mid-December, about a month ago, a little less than a month ago. So it had been like 2 whole months since. But now, granted, you're engaged to someone, and 2 months later you're with another girl. That is a little fishy. I will give you that. That is a little, because obviously, it seems like Sammy had a very long relationship with Pam to the point where they got engaged. I mean, you don't just get engaged. Well, I don't know. Some people do get engaged very quickly, but. I think the average person usually they're dating for a while and then they'll get engaged, and then obviously just as quickly as they got engaged, it was over with, and then just as quickly as the engagement was over with, Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti are now a thing. So, like I said, it does look a little fishy, but you know what? If for all we know, and this is my guess, is that Sammy Guevara might have, him and Ty might have started getting a little close, and then maybe he started developing feelings, and then he maybe, before he did anything, he went to Pam and said, "Hey, look, I'm having feelings for this girl. I'm sorry, but I think we need to end this engagement because otherwise I'm going to do something I'm going to regret and cheat on you. So I'd rather just end it now rather than cheat on you." And
I can almost guarantee you that's not the way it went down.
Well, I'm trying to give Sammy
You're
Guevara
giving him too much credit. Hey, he's a home wrecker too. He needs to wear that shoe as well.
Well, I'm trying to give old Sammy the benefit of the doubt because I don't know what happened for sure.
Nah, don't. Sammy's a dog. Don't do that. Look, this is how it went down. I'll tell you exactly how it went down. As soon as they both got signed to AEW, they knew what was up.
Yeah, you think
and
so?
It started going down
from day one, like WWE day one. From day one,
I think they locked eyes and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is a thing."
It was a little flirtatious, going around the locker room. And
I don't think it took long for them to hit the sack. And I tell you what, I think Sammy Guevara is the reason why she divorced her husband. And look, when I saw what Pam looked like on national television, and look. By any means, am I not saying that Sammy Guevara is an extremely good-looking dude, but he's an okay-looking cat. And now you're in this huge platform at AEW. Rats are lined up blocks for this dude, I can imagine. You got Ty Conti flirting with you. Like, you got the je ne sais quoi. You're El Guapo. You're the man. So when I saw Pam, I was like, there's no way this is going to last. Like, she is not even in his league. She's like this dopey, frumpy looking chick that's not even that attractive. And I'm like, oh, this isn't going to last because this dude's fixing to bang everything that comes across his way.
Yeah. And yeah, certainly the stage that Sammy Guevara was on. I mean, and like you said, he's a decent looking dude, young guy, and I'm very, obviously a great body on him.
No homo.
Yeah, no homo or anything, but I mean, dude's got a nice body. Let's call it, a spade here.
Yeah.
And it's certainly tough, especially if a girl like Ty Conti is kind of starting to flirt with you, maybe. And I mean, I could. It would be hard for me to resist. I tell you that much right now. It'd be damn near impossible, actually. Now that I think about it, but then again, I've never gotten women the caliber of Ty Conti, and I don't know if Sammy Guevara's ever gotten the caliber of women of Ty Conti either. So maybe that's why
obviously
he was
not.
like,
He was engaged to Pam.
Yeah. So I was like, well, maybe I guess I could see why he would jump ship. So, but yeah.
Why he entered the transfer portal.
Yeah, he entered the transfer portal, and it's like going from a junior college to a D1 Power 5 school, I guess. So there you go.
Dang right it is.
All right, you ready to dive into WWE Day 1?
Let's dive into it like Sammy Guevara.
All right, and I'm disappointed now because I pulled up WWE Day 1 on Wikipedia to look up the results, and if anyone's been on is Thursday, January the 6th. If anyone happened to hop on there in the last maybe couple of hours, it looks like it's been fixed now. But
no.
On the right side, there's a promotional poster with Roman Reigns on it. And what's funny is I noticed this before I refreshed it. Underneath it says promotional poster featuring Jey Uso, who did not appear in the event due to testing positive for COVID-19. It's obviously Roman Reigns, so somebody just screwed around and put Jey Uso's name there. But right above that, it now says WWE Day 1, but prior to me refreshing it a while ago, it said WWE Day 69. So someone went in there and screwed around, because obviously anybody can go in there and edit things on Wikipedia. And it was funny too because it also had the date as like January 1st, 2099, which is random as hell, but now it's back to January 1st, 2022. So that was kind of funny that I saw that that happened there with the whole WWE Day 69. I got a big chuckle out of me, but
so you can edit stuff on Wikipedia without it being checked before it posts?
Apparently so. And
it's crazy.
And I tell you what, I'm looking at the results right now, and holy shit! Somebody went in here and did a fucking number on. You know what? I'm reading the results as they're fucking written on Wikipedia right now. So I think somebody's in the process of trying to fix it right now. I just happened to get in here at a good time. On the pre-show, Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeated Cesaro and Ricochet by pinfall. And then we go to the main show. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay, defeated... they don't even have the opponent listed, who they defeated. I forgot. In 22 seconds, though, is that I didn't watch Day 1, by the way, because once again, Peacock is trash. But it says the Usos defeated, and then there's like nothing written after that. And the time of the match was 22 seconds. So I guess the Usos might have squashed somebody. I don't know. Oh, my God. All right, I got to continue to read. Okay, this is where it gets good. So Drew McIntyre defeated Madcap Moss, I think is his name. But what it says on Wikipedia is Drew Midas defeated Madcap Doss with Happy Man by pinfall. I don't know who Happy Man would be. Whoever was in the corner of Madcap Moss or whatever the fuck his name is. And then RK Broskies defeated the Street Lads. Of course, obviously the Street Profits and RK Bro. And then the next one says Edge defeated the Porny with Maurice. The next one says Becky Flinch defeated Livy Moran by pinfall. And then Broccoli Lesbo defeated Fat E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens Chubby, and Bobby Lashley with MVP by pinfall. So some of the names, I guess, I wish I could have seen, or they're still, I'll just refresh it, they're still there, these names. So someone went in here and fucked around on the WWE Day One Wikipedia page. I haven't seen anyone on like wrestling Twitter or the internet say anything about it, but we're saying it here. Someone went around and fucked around on the WWE Day One Wikipedia page. They had WWE Day 69. Obviously, under the promotional poster of the picture of Reigns, it says Jey Uso, which is obviously wrong. They fucked around with the date. I don't know if anything else got messed with, but certainly the names. I mean, I just read them off to you. My favorite is Broccoli Lesbo. Defeated Fat E. Yeah, Fat E. And then there's Kevin Owens Chubby. And you could tell which ones, because when you're on Wikipedia, every superstar, you can click on them and it takes you to their Wikipedia page. And like it's written in blue, like there's a link, but like some of these are redded out because there's no real page for a Drew Midas or a Madcapped Doss or RK Broskis or a Broccoli Lesbo. That's the best one, Broccoli Lesbo. I gotta take a picture of this now that I think about it. I'm gonna take a picture of this. I should have took a picture of the WWE Day 69 because that shit was hilarious. But yeah, so I hope.
Wouldn't that be the worst job, to be the guy that has to fix all this crap?
Yeah,
especially if people can do it where there's not any like safeguards.
Yeah, I know it's kind of weird, but yeah, that would be a kind of a pain in the ass job, especially if you like know absolutely nothing about wrestling. You got to like, go
I'd shoot myself in the face.
Yeah, like you have to go look all this stuff up because like obviously like we know who these are supposed to be, but let's say like somebody that doesn't watch somebody that doesn't watch wrestling or doesn't know anything about wrestling has to go and fix this, and they got to find out who the real names of these people are. So yeah, Broccoli Lesbo, that is truly amazing. But yeah,
Fat E is my favorite.
Yeah. But yeah, so the biggest thing that came out of Day One was the fact that obviously Roman Reigns was supposed to defend the Universal Championship against Broccoli Lesbo. And okay, I gotta stop now. I'm gonna laugh at that shit every time. Roman was supposed.
The biggest thing was them hiring people to actually go into the crowd.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second because it did look like there was a very good crowd. And I mean, it was in Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta's a pretty good wrestling city. It's a big event, New Year's Day or it was New Year's night. I could see why. And then obviously Brock Lesnar was there. I mean, Brock Lesnar, love him or hate him, he always draws that the little extra exposure, I guess, or a little extra. He brings that little extra oomph, I guess, to a show when he's on it. Versus,
it makes it feel like a big fight.
Yeah, exactly, a bigger fight feel. And it was supposed to be him and Roman for the Universal title, but then Roman tested positive for COVID-19, so he
got
pulled
that Omicron.
Yeah, so he had to. So he wasn't able to compete. So they added Brock Lesnar to which was a fatal 4-way for the WWE title, which became a fatal 5-way, and Brock Lesnar won the WWE Championship. So there you go. Now Brock Lesnar is the WWE champion. Roman Reigns is the Universal champion, and it seems like these two guys are going to be on some sort of collision course. Maybe they're talking about a WrestleMania. That's kind of I think that was the plan, to have Brock and Roman main event WrestleMania, possibly for the Universal title. But now Brock has the WWE Championship, which he will now defend at the Royal Rumble against Bobby Lashley. So that right there is kind of a match I'm looking forward to, because that's a match that we've kind of been wanting for a little while. That was a match we were hoping to get at SummerSlam last year, but now we're going to get it at the Royal Rumble. But yeah, what you said about the seat fillers, I kind of read a little bit about that. I don't know how many seat fillers WWE could possibly hire or whatever because, I mean, I'm telling you, I saw the pictures. I mean, this place was packed. So I don't know how many of them were seat fillers, but whatever the case may be, there was a really good crowd there. And like I said, I didn't watch it, but from what I've read from fans, the crowd seemed pretty hot. For the most part of the night, the crowd seemed really into it because, I mean, as of late, obviously WWE crowds just don't seem as much into it, obviously, as they used to be years ago. So maybe I don't know. I really don't know what to think of it because, once again, like I said, I didn't watch it. I'm only going off of what I've heard and the pictures I've seen, but it looked like a good crowd. It seemed like a good crowd, but I mean, how many of those were seat fillers? I don't know, but I hope it wasn't that much. I hope that was a legitimate, or at least 90% of that crowd was legitimate people that bought tickets to go see the show. So I don't know, but you obviously brought up the seat fillers. Is there anything kind of you read about the crowd over at day one?
No, I just heard about that. And then I know there was some heat between WWE and Tony Khan, and WWE was complaining that AEW was handing out free tickets and paying for people to go there, and then you hear WWE's doing the same thing, and I was like, oh Lord.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think AEW needs to hand out any free tickets right now. I mean, they might to certain people, but I guarantee you AEW does not need to hand out free tickets to people. The people are buying those tickets up for the most part, from what I've been seeing, because I've been kind of looking at tickets here and there because they're coming to New Orleans in April, and there's only there's still like some very much upper deck seats available, but the floor seats and all the way around like the lower bowl of the New Orleans or the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, like that is about 85-90% like sold out. So I think that the last thing that AEW has to do is give out free tickets, but obviously I think WWE nowadays they may have a little more reason to want to do that, because I mean, we've seen the pictures of the Raws lately. I mean, they've been taping off half of the arena because people are just not showing up. So it's
just putting people on one side of their arena with the hard cam.
Exactly, yeah, and it's kind of sad because, man, I remember going to WWE shows back in the day, and I mean, the first ever show I went to was in August of 2000 at the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, and I'll never forget, like, we got tickets way late. Like, that was long before, like, we knew how to do pre-sale codes, or at least I knew how to do pre-sale codes, and, like, I kind of jumped on it late. And, like, I remember we sat way up at the top, the very last row, like, because that was the only tickets that were left. And so we were, like, at the very last row, way up at the top, because that bitch was just packed. Not an empty seat in the house, except for the ones that were maybe taped off, like, behind the Titantron. But yes, nowadays, obviously not as many people go to these, or at least a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown, but these bigger shows like a WWE Day One, certainly the Royal Rumble is going to have a great crowd, and I suspect that WrestleMania is going to have a really good crowd as well. So, I hope it's a sign of better things to come for WWE, because I really hate to see that they are not selling out these arenas anymore. It's just it's sad, really. I mean, love or hate what WWE's been doing lately, but it's just sad. So I hope
crowds looks like the attendance at house shows in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Yeah, and you're right. I can't argue with that. But
they'll never be back here again.
No, I don't think so. And I'm surprised. I mean, apparently, from what I've heard, they've been doing house shows here and there. I'm surprised that since COVID that they started doing that again. Like, I thought COVID meant the end of house shows, like, for a long time, but apparently I was wrong. But then again, I guess if you're WWE, you got to find a way to make that money back that you probably lost during the pandemic. So obviously, a lot of people out of even, not just pro wrestling, but a lot of industries took a hit during COVID, and wrestling is right up there with any other industry that took a hit because the fans.
You mean the company that had $2 billion deals? That company?
I mean, yeah, because let's face it, WWE probably relies heavily upon ticket sales. I mean, it's obvious because live events that's their meat and potatoes, I guess you can say, or maybe not some. I mean, the TV deals are a big thing too, but
they have so many revenue streams. They make a ton of money off their YouTube channel, merch.
But the way they probably, you never know. They might use the ticket sales for certain things, and obviously the TV deals might go to certain things as well. So I don't know how they budget that. They may take, the ticket sales may pay for like a lot of superstar salaries for all we know. And like the TV deals may pay for like, that's the thing. I don't know how they do it, but you know what I'm saying? Like the ticket sales may have gone towards certain things and may have been obviously a reason why they've had to release so many superstars over the last 2 years. They say budget cuts, so it could be, that could be why they've had to release so many superstars, because maybe ticket sales from not just Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, but house shows as well might go towards paying a certain portion of the base salaries of some of the wrestlers. You still there, my David?
Yeah.
Oh. You didn't react, so I guess you got nothing there?
No, I got more, but it's just more me poo-pooing on the WWE.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then we'll just move on. Move on to something else here. We'll change gears a lot here. We're gonna talk about we're gonna go over Wrestle Kingdom here. Wrestle Kingdom 16 nights 1 and 2 took place here. Unfortunately, there's no funny names here on. There's Japanese names, so we'll see. It's been a while since I tried to pronounce Japanese names, so excuse me.
Did you see what Will Ospreay said?
I did not. What did he say?
He said, "I would imagine the forbidden door is locked for me. I don't get why that would be, but he said I ain't going nowhere. He said I'm not interested in going anywhere. I'm here in New Japan to stay."
I mean, for all we know, that could be a kayfabe answer where, obviously if he did show up like in an AEW or anywhere else, it'd be an even bigger surprise maybe, but I don't know. I did see a clip from his match with Kazuchika Okada from night 2, and man, I'm going to have to go and watch like those two guys wrestle a match because, man, those two guys are just on another level. But I'm going to start now with night 1. First match, I guess it was like the pre-show match, a 19-man New Japan Rambo to determine who will challenge the provisional, King of Pro Wrestling 2022 trophy on night 2. Chase Owens, CIMA, Minoru Suzuki, and Toru Yano advanced to the 4-way match. Then on the main card, Yo defeated Sho with this is a funny name, Dick Togo, or Dick Tugo, I guess, so if you want to say it that way. So Yo defeated Sho in a singles match. Kenta, Taiji Ishimori, and El Phantasmo defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Mega Coaches, featuring Ryusuke Taguchi and Rocky Romero by disqualification, actually, on a 6-man tag team match. The next was another 6-man tag team match, United Empire, which is Will Ospreay, Great Okan, and Jeff Cobb. That's a hell of a team right there. Defeated Los Ingobernables de Japón, which is Tetsuya Naito, Sonata, and Bushi by pinfall. And then in a singles match, Shibata defeated Ren Narita. That was, of course, Shibata's return match. He hadn't wrestled a match in a very long time due to an injury where I think a lot of people thought he had to retire from pro wrestling. Evil defeated Tomohiro Ishii to become the new Never Openweight champion. So Evil is now the new Never Openweight champion. Chaos, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi defeated Dangerous Tekkers, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. To become the new IWGP Tag Team Champions. And then El Desperado defeated Hiromu Takahashi to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And then the main event of night 1, Kazuchika Okada defeated Shingo Takagi to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So that is night 1, and then I'm going to go over night 2 here real quick. There's a few pre-show matches here. A few 6-man tags, I guess, just to get people on the show here. But Togi Makabe, Yuji Nagata, Tomoaki Hanma defeated the Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, Geto, and Jado, I guess is how you say that name, in a 6-man tag team match. And then here we go. These are some names I'm not familiar with.
Got this.
Hiroyoshi, Tenzin, Satoshi Kojima, and Master Wato, I guess. They defeated Suzuki-gun, El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Taka Michinoku. I know that one. He's been around a long time. And then the third pre-show match, Los Ingobernables de Japón, which is Shingo Takagi, Bushi, and Hiromu Takahashi, defeated Suzuki-gun, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Douki, I guess, by pinfall. And then we go to the main the main card, Flying Tiger, which is Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask, defeated the mega coaches Ryusuke Taguchi and Rocky Romero and Bullet Club's cutest tag team, Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo, to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. And then you got Tam. They actually had a women's match here. It was a Stardom Exhibition Tag Team match. Tam Nakano and Saya Kamatani defeated Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid by pinfall. So it was cool there for New Japan to feature some of the Stardom women there on Wrestle Kingdom. The next match was the Provisional King of Pro Wrestling 2022, or for the Provisional King of Pro Wrestling 2022 trophy. Minoru Suzuki defeated Chase Owens, Sema, and Toru Yano by pinfall. So Minoru Suzuki has the Provisional King of Pro Wrestling 2022 trophy. The next match was for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles. House of Torture, Evil, Yujiro Takahashi, and Sho defeated Chaos, which is Haruki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo. So they retain the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles. Sonata defeated Great Okan in a singles match. Tetsuya Naito defeated Jeff Cobb in a singles match. IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, Hiroshi Tanahashi is now the new IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion after defeating Kenta by pinfall. And the main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada defeated Will Ospreay by pinfall, and I guarantee you that match was an instant classic. Like I said, I saw a clip of that match on Reddit, and man, just the sequence I saw that lasted like 40 seconds was absolutely amazing. So I threw a lot out there, but those are the first two nights of Wrestle Kingdom. I wish I could have watched them, but of course they happen at 4 a.m. Where we are, so I never get around to watching them. So it is what it is. But I guarantee you, it was two great nights of wrestling, and they actually have a third night coming up here, according to Wikipedia, and it's on January the 8th, which is Saturday. As a matter of fact, I'm going to quickly go over the card for that. Chaos and 6 or 9 will take on Daisuke Harada, Hajime Ohara, Daiki Inaba. These names, bruh. Like, this is, I ain't been practicing. This is wild. Yoshiki Inamura, maybe? Yeah, Inamura, I think is how you say it. And Kinya Okada. I know how to say Okada. That one's pretty easy. And then Sho will take on Atsushi Kotogi. Then Bullet Club. There's actually no titles on the line here at night 3, it looks like. Bullet Club, Taiji Ishimori, and Geto will take on Stinger, which is Hayata and Saiki Yoshioka. There we go. I think Yoshioka is how you say that. Suzuki-gun, which is El Desperado, and Dookie. if it's pronounced Dookie, that's hilarious. Douki. I want to say Dowki because Dookie. That's just too funny to be true. Versus Los Perros del Mal de Japón, which is Yohei and Nosawa Rangai. Suzuki-gun will take on Sugiura-gun, so that's interesting, and Kenta. And then a House of Torture will take on Go Shiozaki, and then Suzuki-gun yet again, which is Zack Sabre Jr. and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, this time taking on Naomichi Marufuji and Yoshinari Ogawa. And then Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Sanada Bushi, and Hiromu Takahashi will take on Kongo, which is Katsuhiko Nakajima, Keno Manabu Soya, Tadasuke, and Aleha, I guess. And then the main event is a tag team match. It's Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Kaiji Muto and Kaito Kiyomiya. So there you go. That is, I'm gonna have to get Brinkman or Cruz to listen back to this one to see just how much I butchered some of those names. But man,
You got this.
Well, I'm done now. That was everything. So yeah, that's Wrestle Kingdom 16. I didn't get to see it, so I can't really, give you any thoughts on it. But I can tell you it was probably a very good show, and night 3 is probably going to be excellent as well. I mean, I've never been disappointed from a New Japan show. I just wish New Japan was located in America so I could watch it live at a decent time.
It sucks how irrelevant the Bullet Club is these days.
Well, I mean, maybe here, but in New Japan, I'm sure it's still kind of it's probably less irrelevant because obviously some of the bigger names that were in Bullet Club are no longer there, like a Kenny Omega, like a Finn Balor or Prince Devitt.
The Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks. But
Hangman Page.
Yeah, Hangman Page. But I think it's still, and obviously, we get to see a little bit of that in AEW. I think we get a little taste of it. They still kind of mention it and bring it up here from time to time in AEW. But yeah, that was Wrestle Kingdom. So I think that's all we got on that.
Has Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Anderson, have they went over to Japan yet?
Not to my knowledge, but then once again, I just don't keep up with New Japan as much.
I thought that's why they went to Impact, because Impact said, yeah, you can wrestle for New Japan too.
Well, I would think in AEW they could do that as well, but because, I mean, they've had a handful of New Japan guys come over to AEW, so I don't see why they wouldn't let, AEW wouldn't let them go to New Japan, but
yeah.
As far as I know, they haven't made their way back there. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, which is not very much, they have not made their way back to New Japan just yet. So, all right, let's move on now to the next topic. Bron Breakker, your new NXT champion. Obviously, he's the son of is it Rick Steiner?
Yeah,
he's the son of, and ever since he showed up in NXT. There's just been something about him. Everyone's been talking about him, his athleticism. He's a big dude. He just has the look. And shoot, within a year, he's already NXT champion. So, they're pushing this guy to the moon. And it was a pretty cool moment after the match. Rick Steiner came into the ring and celebrated with him. So, Rick Steiner was actually there at the show. And also saw that Tommaso Ciampa, who Bron Breakker defeated, by the way, for the NXT championship. Tommaso Ciampa, after the match, went over and shook Rick Steiner's hand, and I'm not sure what was said, but obviously a show of respect there from Tommaso Ciampa. But I don't know.
You think without the belt around his waist, Ciampa is the next one to get thrown to the wolves, thrown to the streets?
No, I don't think so, because Tommaso Ciampa is such a big time player in NXT and has been for years now. I could see him going to the main roster before I see him getting released. I just don't see a scenario where he gets released. If he gets released, it's because he lets his contract run out. He's just been too big of a player in NXT for them just kind of let go like that. So, I don't think they're going to release him. But then again, I could be wrong. There's plenty of names over the last 2 years I would have been like, no, there's no way they release him or her. And they did. So, you can't count out the possibility of that with the way WWE has been releasing people left and right. But my gut says no.
You don't think Vince is like, there's too much gray in his beard?
No, because Vince took over NXT apparently, and now Ciampa was the champion. So, I think they have a little more stock in Ciampa than we might think. So, I don't think they're going to release him, but I could be wrong. But what you think of Bron Breakker winning the NXT title?
Yeah, obviously he's the biggest wrestler they got right now, even though, like you said, he's just a year into the game, but he comes in and obviously he's been very well trained and, not maybe 100% polished off, but, he's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's got a great body, no homo. And he's got the lineage that everybody knows about. So, it's like a match made in heaven for these guys. I'm sure all the people in the back are slobbering over this dude.
Yeah, so and it's just I almost want to compare this to like Kurt Angle, like when Kurt Angle came into wrestling, like he was WWE champion within a year, and now Braun Breaker. Granted, it's not the WWE championship, but the NXT championship within a year. So I'm curious to see the push he gets in NXT to see if he can maybe bring a little more eyes to the product here. But yeah, congrats to Braun Breaker, man. I'm hoping big things for him, and it seems like because like I said, since day one, we were everyone was talking about the what's the word I'm looking for here? The potential, the potential that he has, and obviously, the sky is the limit for Braun Breaker. So he's already getting pushed to the moon. So hopefully they don't screw it up.
Yeah, Fightful Select is reporting that his entrance has a lot of people in the back kind of put off about it. Because did you see the entrance?
I did see the entrance. Yeah, apparently, what was it? I mean, because I saw the entrance, but I'm not sure what they're talking about as far as like
he came out and it was like the old NXT logo, and there was chains everywhere, and he was bound by chains, and then he broke the chains, and then the back screen got all colorful like the new NXT 2.0 colors and stuff like that. And then he kicked through the old yellow X.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense now.
Obviously, I guess he's ushering in the new NXT era, but at the same time, a lot of people in the back thought it was bad taste.
Yeah.
And yeah, because they weren't really digging it.
Yeah. It seems like they're kind of shitting on, the old NXT, which the old NXT was, top notch.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because I saw a lot of memes where like they were showing clips of the image and then like showing pictures of like old pictures of Triple H just pissed off being held back for whatever reason. So, so now it makes sense. Now I was like, I didn't get it at first, but now your explanation makes it make a whole bunch of sense. So, yeah, that is very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a way that they're trying to get him to say, hey, like, I'm running this new era or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But, if anything, if they did it to get people talking, it worked. So
most definitely. And if they did it to piss people off, I think that worked too.
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah. Like I said, they a lot of things they do it to get people talking. And that's exactly what happened. All right. Let's move on now to AEW last night, inaugural show on TBS. Started off with the AEW World Championship match between Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page, who, of course, wrestled to a 60-minute draw last time. So this is the rematch. And Hangman Adam Page actually came out on top after a buckshot lariat. They wrestled for about, I think it was about 30 minutes or so. It was around 30 minutes, give or take a few. I don't know the exact time, but once again, a very good match. This match, in my opinion, was better than the first one.
Yeah, both of them were a bloody mess.
Yeah, they were a bloody mess, but this one was much better. I don't want to say much better, but it was better than the first one. I guess because the first one just because when you have a 60-minute match, like there's parts of it where it just kind of feels like it drags on a little bit, and yeah. I'm just not I'm not a fan of that. Like I want some not necessarily high flying action, but I want some back and forth pretty consistently, and like when the pace slows up a little bit after a while, I'm just kind of like, I feel like it's dragging on. I feel like they don't do like in New Japan. Like I don't feel like they do that. Like
no, like that's what I was fixing to say. Unless you're Omega and Okada, nobody should be really doing a 60-minute match.
Yeah, like even Ospreay and Okada, like those two guys. I saw they wrestled for like 32 minutes, but I guarantee you there was a very rare, if ever, a time in that match. And like I said, I didn't see the match, but I'm sure there was not a lot of points in that match where the pace really slowed up and dragged on. So, but this match, I feel like that didn't happen in this match, and it was a very good match. And congrats to Hangman, big win there over Bryan Danielson, giving Bryan Danielson his first loss of his AEW career. The next match was supposed to be MJF versus Captain Shawn Dean. So I figured, okay, MJF's about to come in and squash this dude, just rack up wins. And right before the match, well, actually, I think the match had started. CM Punk runs down to the ring, and of course, MJF runs off. And then CM Punk gives the GTS to Shawn Dean, therefore giving Shawn Dean the win by disqualification. And then after the match, CM Punk and MJF, did a little, obviously went after each other again on the mics. And
which is gold.
Yeah, it was gold. And once again, MJF said something about, if I continue to get disrespected, I might. Well, he said something about Punk never, main eventing a WrestleMania, which is obviously, was something Punk obviously always wanted when he was in WWE. And Punk said, if I keep getting disrespected around here, maybe I'll go main event a WrestleMania. And I was like, all right, this is getting good. And then Punk says, well, if you think the grass is so greener on the other side, be my guest. Go ahead and main event night 4 of a buy one, get one extravaganza, and then get released as fast as you can last in the sack. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, just when you think they can't get better at the promos, they get better and whatnot. But basically, and it seemed like MJF was about to challenge Punk to a match next week, but it turns out it's going to be Punk versus Wardlow next week. So they're still going to drag this out for a little bit. But once again,
Wardlow seems like he's almost done with old Maxwell's crap too.
Yeah, they're building towards Wardlow turning against Max and Sean Spears and that group and kind of running off and doing his own thing. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit because he did have a match. But let's see here. The next thing was, Chris Jericho got confronted by Team 2.0. A brawl ensued. Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston came out because Garcia came out, and it was like a 3-on-1 thing. And then, like I said, Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston came out to make the save. Adam Cole Bay challenged Jake Atlas, by the way. Jake Atlas had a pretty impressive debut on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation. I don't remember. And he's going to get a match against Adam Cole Bay on Friday night on Rampage. So I'm looking forward to that. They showed a little clip of Jake Atlas's Dark match, and man, he pulled off this crazy move where like he bounced off the rope and like did his DDT. It was crazy. I never seen anything like it.
Of some of the stuff that I've seen of this guy, watching some of his stuff in NXT and then PWG, like I don't know why there's so much stock they're putting into this dude. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Try to watch
he's slow.
Yeah, well, he's a big guy. I mean,
he's the male equivalent of Ruby Riott.
Well, he's a big guy. I mean, I don't expect him to be speedy, but I've never seen a match of his, so I'm gonna watch him against Adam Cole Bay on Friday night.
He doesn't have a great body.
He has an okay body. Like I say, he's a big dude. Like he's like
a little flabby.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up a picture of this dude real quick. If my computer will unfreeze here. But, he seems... Let's see, here we go, Jake Atlas. I would say
he's... unimpressed.
I wouldn't say he's flabby. He's definitely not ripped, but he ain't flabby. He just looks like he's like just solid. Like,
I mean, if you're going to call yourself Jake Atlas, wouldn't you think you would be ripped?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're thinking of Tony
Atlas can't be his real last name.
No, his real name is Kenny Marquez, by the way. So there you go.
Then what's the point?
I don't know. I guess maybe that was I don't know. I don't know who gave him that name or if he gave it to himself or what the case may be. But he's going to be wrestling Adam Cole Bay on Friday. This damn computer wants to start acting slow on me now, huh?
Well, speaking of Adam Cole, he looks like he's kind of letting himself go after, all this good times in AEW, having his boo thing right there. Maybe he's banging her too much.
I don't know.
The munchies.
Now, he's also never been a big guy either. He's never been, but he's been great in the ring, granted, but he's just never been.
Yeah, the last time I saw him in his tights on the AEW YouTubes, I was like, whoa. Adam Cole looks like he's putting on some weight.
I don't know if he's putting on any weight. If he is, it's not going to the right places. But I'm looking forward to their match and see how Jake Atlas performs with Adam Cole Bay, and I think they'll have a pretty good match on Friday. So I would, David, I'd tune in Friday night if I was you. The next match, okay, we talked about Wardlow a little bit earlier. He faced Antonio Zambrano, and of course, came in and he squashed him. And then Sean Spears came in, hit him with a few chairs. Nothing really much there. Once again, you could tell Wardlow is, slowly but surely getting fed up with Sean Spears shit. So yeah, there's that. And then there was the TBS Women's Championship Tournament Finals. I'm going to tell you one thing. The crowd was not into this match at all.
And why would they be?
Well,
Ruby Riott is the worst.
Yeah, and like I said, the match was okay. Obviously, I'm sure you're happy that Jade Cargill won more so.
Oh, God,
yes.
yes.
Which I think that was obviously I think that was the plan all along because they've been building up Jade Cargill to be this. I mean, granted, I will say this: I don't think Jade Cargill is nearly polished in the ring.
No,
she has a great look. She could talk. I mean, she's got everything except the bell-to-bell skill. She's not very polished. I think that'll come with time because prior to AEW, as far as I know, she had zero pro wrestling experience. So you're taking this woman with zero pro wrestling experience and basically shooting her to the moon. Sort of like Goldberg. When Goldberg got to WCW, he had zero professional wrestling experience, but he had the look, the physique, and everything. So Jade Cargill.
I think we should go back to what Corny said a while back about Riho. He's effing her. Like some EVP or maybe even Tony Khan is putting it to Jade. Maybe.
I don't know about that. I don't know if Jade's married. Her daughter was there, and some guy was there with her daughter. They didn't specify. I don't think they mentioned if he was a family member, a husband, a brother, or something. But I don't even know if she's married or not. Let me see if I can look that up here real quick. Jade Cargill.
I think it's a slap in the face that the first time you do a freaking, new women's belt, that Thunder Rosa is not wearing that belt.
Yeah.
Besides Britt Baker, she's like the best wrestler you have on your women's roster.
Let's see, but she does have she has a partner, renowned MLB player Brandon Phillips. She's with Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, see, he's on the road all the time, and so is she. She's boinking.
Does he still play baseball, I guess? Brandon?
EVP.
No, he's 50 years old. Brandon Phillips is 50 years old.
Oh, damn.
Famous as husband of Jade Cargill. Okay.
GrayFox.com. That's where you find those old rich dudes.
Hey, if he's 50 years old and he's got Jade Cargill, hey, good for him. I will say that. Congrats on the sex, bro. But yeah, okay, one more thing here. So Jade Cargill is the inaugural TBS champion. And then I think we go to the main event.
How much did Ruby Soho suck in that match? Tell me that.
I wasn't impressed. But I wasn't impressed with either one of them. So, it's whatever. Like I said, the crowd wasn't into it either. So I wish I would love for them to be better, but it is what it is.
Mercedes Martinez is now on the women's roster over there. She could be a beast in the future.
Yeah, they're starting to slowly build a good women's roster there in AEW. The next match was Malachi Black versus Brian Pillman Jr. The biggest part of this match, Brian Pillman tried to jump up on the rope and he busted his ass. I don't know if it was real or if it was fake. Part of me thinks it was actually kind of real because as soon as he got up after busting his ass, Malachi hit him with the Black Mass heel kick and won. So Malachi Black did defeat Brian Pillman Jr., but we're still debating on whether or not him jumping up on the rope. He was trying to do a springboard, whatever the fuck, and he just busted his ass. So
see, if you look back at the video, I think the original plan was to hit the Black Mass while he was in the air.
Yeah.
Because right when he steps on the top rope, you can see Malachi starting his motion.
Yeah.
And then he notices, oh, this dumb A just slipped.
Yeah, that was.
And then
if that was a botch,
and then clocks him.
If that was a botch, that was that was a bad one, man. That's bad. I kind of feel for him because that was terrible. But yeah, so that happened, and then the main event. Jurassic Express defeated the Lucha Brothers to become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions.
This is such BS.
Why you say that?
Okay. So Penta drops him on his head on the edge of the mat. Then he brings him inside the ring, and then they do that thing where Phoenix jumps on his butt, and then he drops him on his head again. and then dude kicked out at 2.5. You got to be kidding me. And then he gets the win just a few seconds later after you just got dropped on your head with a small package. You got to be effing me, dude.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to suspend belief, I guess, in pro wrestling. But
well, I mean, AEW is supposedly, more of a fight feel to it.
Yeah,
supposedly more, real. And this is how you're going to play it out.
I had a feeling this match, the title was going to change hands just because it was the main event. And typically in that scenario, the title would change hands. Now, we talk about suspending belief. Boy, I don't know if you saw the video of Phoenix when he got thrown through the table. His arm went the complete wrong direction. Like, I couldn't even watch the replay. They kept showing the damn replay. And I'm like, stop showing that shit, man. Like,
I was wondering, because I saw it on YouTube, and I wondered what happened. They blurred it out. And my son was like, do you think his mask came off? And I was like, I guess. I don't know. So we didn't see it live. So I was wondering why they blurred it out.
Yeah, his arm, and I didn't see it on the initial, like when it happened live, but like the first replay, like I noticed it immediately. That like his arm, it did not look good. And,
yeah, my stomach's tingling right now. You just saying, there's no way I could have watched that.
Yeah, like and then they showed the replay 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, stop, like that's enough. But the good news is, based on what I heard, because I mean, based on the look of it, it looked like worst case scenario. But
yeah,
based on what I've read today, it seems like he just severely dislocated his elbow. So like nothing's broken, but obviously he's going to be out for a little bit. So it doesn't seem like it's worst case scenario, but he definitely, from what I've read, seems like a severe dislocation of the elbow. But man,
well then you know what? Then this finish makes more sense now. The finish makes more sense. You see from the back, you're Tony Khan, and you're like, oh my God, this guy's arm just got obliterated. There's no way that these guys can keep the belts, right?
Yeah.
So you get on the walkie and you tell the ref, hey, we got to change this finish, small package, Jungle Boy right now, because we got to get the EMTs out there to save this dude's arm.
Now, I still believe that having Jurassic Express winning the belts was the original plan, because I believe a couple of members of Jungle Boy's family was there at ringside. So that makes me think that the plan was always to have Jurassic Express win the tag team belts. Now, what I was thinking that possibly could have happened, what you said, because obviously, you see that happen, and you can communicate to the referee like, hey, we're gonna have to call an audible here and change the finish of this match, because we can't have the Lucha Brothers win this match, because they're not gonna be able to defend the belts for a long time because of how nasty that arm injury was. So yeah, it was it looked bad, but luckily it's not. It turns out I don't think it's as bad as it looked, but nonetheless, Jurassic Express is your new AEW World Tag Team Champs.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was wondering, I was like, why is this big old blurry spot on there? What's going on? I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's see. Next up, we can quickly talk about this. More WWE NXT releases. Road Dogg got released. William Regal was probably the biggest name that got released. Well, those were the 2 names that got released. Obviously, 2 guys that work backstage with NXT. From what I heard, a lot of Triple H's people got released. And there was some other talent that got released as well. Like Danny Burch, I think, got released, and maybe a few other people. So a few more NXT releases, but obviously the big one was Road Dogg and William Regal. A lot of wrestlers coming out, talking about how if it wasn't for William Regal, they wouldn't be where they are and things like that. So obviously you feel if you read and gone through social media since then, you felt the impact that William Regal has had on NXT. So sucks to see him go, because man, he's one of the greatest minds in wrestling and whatnot. And even Brian Alvarez tweeted out saying something like, what is it? I got it right here. Yeah, he tweeted out, imagine firing William Regal. Like, how could you,
I bet you Tony Khan is waiting to see if he has a no compete.
Yeah, I know, right? If I'm Tony Khan, I'm going to grab William Regal very fast. To at the very least, let's see, somebody.
You have him run the dark and elevation.
Yeah, there you go. Give me heel manager Regal, like a Taz type role. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Something like that. Regal will definitely be picked up by AEW for working in the back. A huge free agent pickup. Yeah, he would be an all-time pickup for like backstage and whatnot for AEW. So I would not be shocked if AEW was not on the phone with him already. Ace Steel, Ranjan Singh, and Ryan Katz were a few others that got released as well. So once again, more releases from WWE. And then finally, before we get to Rumor Mill here, we're going to talk about some...
but before we leave this subject,
yeah, go ahead.
I got something pulled up from Ringside News. Ringside News said they asked around about the situation, and it was 100% confirmed to them that removing Triple H's people is personal. WWE was cleansing NXT of Triple H's influence, and they were told by a tenured member of the team that it feels personal because it is.
Yeah, now that's the case. That I don't understand that because
Vince McMahon is going senile.
Yeah, that's possible.
Or do you think it's like, or do you think he's jealous that Triple H built this, the black and yellow brand by himself with hardly any resources from the WWE, and he thinks that in his mind it made him look bad because his products are floundering when NXT was thriving.
It could be, and the worst thing that happened to NXT is they decided, and I don't even know whose decision it was. It might have been Vince's, but when AEW came about, AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, WWE decided, well, we're going to put NXT head-to-head with AEW Dynamite. That was the stupidest thing they could have ever done, because as good as NXT is, there was so much hype and anticipation and build around AEW as this new, fresh pro wrestling, not sports entertainment, but pro wrestling company that were bringing in all of the these hottest names from Japan, Ring of Honor, whatever the case may be,
WWE
and WWE as well. And when that happened, I mean, obviously they had the Wednesday Night Wars, and unfortunately for NXT, it was a war that they could not win. And when they started losing the war and they had to move to Tuesday nights, it was considered sort of a defeat. And then the ratings just never, and I guess they thought maybe moving to Tuesday nights, not going head to head with AEW, the ratings would kind of jump back up. And granted, they did for a little bit, but they were not able to continue to increase the ratings. And eventually, they were like, you know what, we're going to take this over, and we're going to handle it. And now they're just slowly but surely, killing what made NXT just so great, and it's sad to see, but that's what I think happened.
Think about it. Vince McMahon is so great at long-term storylines that you think, okay, maybe he put them against AEW because he knew they would fail, and then that would kind of shame Triple H, and then it would open the door for him to go, oh, well, you don't know what you're doing. The old man's got to take over and show you how it's done, so that he gets him out of like an influential spot in the company. Just to be an a-hole.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and feed his own ego.
Yeah, and that would suck if that's the case, because a guy like Vince, he's already got Raw and SmackDown to deal with, and then Triple H was doing such a fantastic job with NXT, and I don't know. I guess it's one of those things. Vince was just not happy with the ratings and everything, and said, "Well, I'll do it myself," and whatnot. So I don't know if there's tension between him and Triple H because of it, but
I'd imagine there's tons of tension. Can you imagine being Triple H? You're building up all these bona fide freaking stars in NXT, and when they get called up,
Yeah.
it fizzles out immediately.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Vince didn't know what to do with them. Triple H did, but Vince did not. Most of them, at least. It's sad.
'Cause, I mean, by God, I mean, like, Ricochet should be like considered in the same tier as Kenny Omega, but he's not.
Yeah. He's not.
God, I can't wait till his contract runs out.
I know. Before you know it, everybody's going to be jumping ship to AEW.
I even think Ricochet should go to Japan. Can you imagine him in Japan?
Well, he's been in Japan before, so.
Yeah.
And he was great. So, anything else you got on that?
No.
All right.
Vince is an a-hole.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump over now to some a little bit of controversy from last week with involving Big Swole and Tony Khan. Apparently, Swole went on someone's show and talked about. Let's see. She expanded on the mentality that led her to part ways with AEW. Swole ultimately cited many reasons that contributed to her exit from the company, including an overall lack of screen time for women, occasionally butting heads with Kenny Omega, a lack of structure, and the company's lack of diversity. Quote, there is no representation truly, and when there is, it doesn't come across in the black community as genuine at all, as Swole said. She went on to say, what happens is you have this wonderful company that treats people like family, but there's nobody that looks like me that is represented at the top and in the room with them. And then Tony Khan, Fightful tweeted this article out, and Tony Khan quote tweeted it on Twitter, and this was basically his response. The top two AEW execs are brown, me and Mega. I don't know if he meant to say Megan or MEGHA. Jade Bowens, Caster, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, and Mark Quinn all won on TV this month. The TBS title tournament has been very diverse. I let Swole's contract expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't good enough. Hashtag
That's so petty.
Yeah, hashtag AEW Rampage Street Fight tonight. Now, part of me,
like a little kid.
Well, part of me loves what he said, but part of me is like, I don't know if you should have said that because
I'll be honest. You're the CEO of a company.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, like me personally, Big Swole never did it for me. Like,
no, me neither.
Nothing about her did anything for me. I mean, he's not wrong, but it's one of those things like the Stephen A. Smith, like, well, he's not wrong, but you didn't have to say it, you know, like, you didn't have to say it, even though you're not wrong. So Tony Khan could have just kind of kept quiet about it. But then again, I guess he felt like Big Swole was maybe coming after him. So I guess he was like, you know what, I'm going to defend myself here in my company. So,
but he even defends himself to like schmucks like me and you that are like down in his product on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the guy's got a mentality of like a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And then like Leo Rush came out and was like basically telling Tony Khan to apologize for what he said. And then and then Will Hobbs came out and kind of backed Tony Khan a little bit. So like a lot of wrestlers came out and some kind of didn't care for what Tony said. Some kind of backed him. So, I think this is kind of already blown over. So
yeah. And it's like, what are you looking at, Swole? You got the Lucha Brothers and Sammy Guevara that are champions.
Yeah. Miro was a champion. And now Jade Cargill is the TBS champion. So
now I understand at the biggest title, there hasn't been diversity there, but nobody really on the roster right now is at that point where they could realistically take that title.
Yeah. And then even the AEW Women's World Champion, the first one was Riho. She's Japanese. And then Hikaru Shida held the belt for a little while. And I mean, now it's Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, but they're a really diverse company. And I think the telltale sign is when she said, there's not many people that look like me. So diversity only means people that look like her, apparently. Yeah, but it's one of those tricky situations. No,
it's not tricky. She was butthurt. And when they told her that, hey, thank you for what you've done, but your services are no longer needed. We're not going to renew your contract. And she probably asked why. And then that's when Tony laid it on her. Like your wrestling's not where it should be. You know, we're gonna have to cut you.
And then if I was Big Swole, I'd say, well, if it was because of my wrestling, why is Ruby Soho there?
Oh my God, yes.
Can you imagine? Why is
God,
Ruby Soho
Soho's so
there?
bad.
And
The only good thing about Ruby Soho is her entrance music. You sing along to it, and then for about 2 minutes, and then you get a 5-minute crappy match.
Yeah. And then I would say the same thing about Jade. But then again, once again, like the difference between Jade and Big Swole was, to me, Jade has the look. I mean,
She's got
Jade,
charisma.
And she's got charisma. Like Big Swole didn't have any of that, in my opinion. So, and now Jade still, like I said, she's not polished in the ring, but
like Big Swole.
But she also has she's had zero professional wrestling experience prior to AEW.
Like, look, you know what you're going to get when you're watching Elevation and Dark. Like, you know what you're going to get. And if you're watching that, you're fine with it. But when Swole comes into a dark match, it's like, fast forward.
Yep. You are correct. All right. Well, that's all I got on that. If you ain't got nothing else.
Nah, yeah. She was just a little butt hurt. And then she wanted to vent. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There's no truth behind what she said.
Yeah, probably not. But if that's the way she felt, then
we just proved there wasn't.
I mean, we gave examples, I guess, but like I said, you can't. If that's how she felt, then that's how she felt. I mean, you can't. If she felt like that, then that's how she felt. I mean, it is what it is.
She can feel like that all she wants. It doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah. Nah, you're right about that. So, but yeah, I got nothing else on that.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, it's time for Rumor Mill.
Yeah, man. Looks like Jon Moxley may be coming back to AEW soon because, check this out, GCW is booking a match for their world title, currently held by Jon Moxley, for their Hammerstein Ballroom show January 23rd.
Oh.
It's led to a lot of speculation. Mox will return to AEW in the next couple of weeks. Uncle Dave wrote in his daily update, if that match is taking place, there's no way Moxley's first appearance won't be on AEW television.
I guess. I mean, I'm ready to have some Jon Moxley back, but obviously, I only want him to come back if he feels that he's gotten over his problem and has gotten help and he's healthy. So hopefully that is the case. But I guess we'll see. Time will tell.
I don't know if Jon will ever be healthy. I mean, I think he's dealing with pain. I think he's dealing just with issues with his body that he has to use alcohol to medicate. And if he can't medicate with alcohol, there's only a few other choices. It's either going to be pain pills or drugs.
Yeah,
so,
I mean maybe
he may drink the alcohol, but the pain's always going to be there.
Yeah, maybe
if he wants to medicate, what's he going to do?
Maybe he can get some of that CBD.
Yeah, but that only goes so far. That can help with inflammation, but I mean, sometimes, especially what these guys do, I mean, the way they put their bodies, and especially how he's starting to do more of these hardcore matches. I mean, this guy needs pain relief.
Or maybe he can have Renee rub him down every night.
I'm sure she already does that.
Yeah, well, there you go.
God bless her.
Yeah, there you go. Problem solved. All right.
All right, next up. On the Wrestling with Freddie podcast, Freddie Prinze Jr. Isn't the guy an actor?
Yeah, he used to write for WWE years ago, from what I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember him doing like teeny bopper shows when I was young.
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking. Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm pretty sure like he used to write for WWE. Like he was a writer like long ago. Let's see. Yeah, work with from 2008 to 2009. He also made a cameo. And it created an official profile, WWE Universe blog. Regularly thoughts about the current blah blah blah. I'm trying to. I thought maybe he was a writer. I know he was a special guest host one time.
Yeah.
Prince returned to WWE on October 1st, 2010, in a role as producer and director. On the November 1st, 2010 episode of Monday Night Raw, made an on-screen appearance as Vince McMahon's doctor. Oh, in a dream sequence. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I think he did a little backstage stuff with WWE at one point.
Well, apparently he's really into wrestling because he's got a wrestling podcast, which is definitely hurting our numbers. Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie.
He said a Fox executive told him WWE wanted to buy the whole WWE product.
You mean Fox wanted to buy him?
Yeah. What'd I say?
You said WWE wanted to buy the whole WWE
Oh, yeah.
product?
I'm sorry. Yeah. The Fox executive told him that WWE wanted the network to buy the whole product, but the asking price was too high. So Fox licensed SmackDown instead.
Well, WWE's tried. That's probably why they are, obviously they've been letting go a lot of people. They're trying to up the value of the company with all the deals they got. And obviously if you let go, the more people you let go, the less expenses you have. So I would think it ups the value of the company. But I mean, that company's worth a shit ton of money. Let's face it.
I wonder what they were asking, because if the asking price was too high and Fox paid $1 billion to license SmackDown, what do you think they were asking?
Well, I know like the UFC, some years ago, were sold for $4 billion, and I feel like WWE, I mean, maybe not right now, but certainly it's got to be up there as far as the price tag on that thing. I mean, it's a worldwide, global, sports entertainment business. This thing's on a global level.
Yeah,
and so I would think it's in the billions for sure.
All right, next up, Fightful Select says WWE had plenty of plans in place for Jeff Hardy before he was released, including a run in NXT as MSK's Shaman.
Yeah, I did see that. I just saw breaking news. Samoa Joe has been released by WWE.
I saw that somewhere else where they said the only Triple H guys left were Shawn Michaels and Samoa Joe, and he gone.
Yeah, but I just saw that Sean Ross Sapp, or somebody posted it via Sean Ross Sapp about an hour ago. So that is breaking news. Samoa Joe has been released by WWE. That's to be another guy. I thought he got released and they brought him back. Okay, I was like, wait, I've seen this. Yeah. I was having deja vu. So yeah, this is the second time he got released. AEW needs to go get him as soon as possible. But I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle or not. I don't know.
I just have him do commentary until he's good.
Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, breaking news: Samoa Joe released by WWE. But back to the Jeff Hardy thing. Because I read that they had to last minute call up Riddle to come in and work with MSK and NXT. So, the whole Jeff Hardy situation still kind of baffles me a little bit because it was such an abrupt releasing, because he showed up apparently. I don't know. They said he showed up not feeling great, or they sent him home or some shit. I don't know. But he gone.
I saw on social media the other day. He's on a music tour right now.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he doesn't have no issues with alcohol or anything. Not anymore, at least, or at least
his
not
music
right now.
Sucks.
Yeah, stick to pro wrestling, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't understand why anybody would go to hear your music, dude.
Yeah, I want to go see you jump off a ladder, Jeff.
So bad. You think he ends up in AEW?
I wouldn't be shocked because obviously Matt's there, and that'd be a great thing for them to kind of because obviously they're at the tail end of their career, so it would be awesome for them to ride off into the sunset as the Hardy Boys in AEW.
I'm sure Matt's politicking for it pretty hard.
Oh, I guarantee you he is.
Here's a little extra. Missing from backstage at Raw in the recent weeks, Bruce Pritchard and Michael Hayes.
Really?
Think they're next on the chopping block?
I mean, Bruce Pritchard, he's up there, man. He's pretty much running the show up there. That would be shocking to see Bruce Pritchard go. And Michael Hayes too. Yeah, is another guy. He's up there as well. But so they've been MIA for the last few weeks.
Apparently, that's what PW Insider's saying.
Yeah, that is very interesting. They could be at this point. I mean, shit. At this point,
nobody's safe.
Yeah, exactly. No one's safe.
And finally, Andrade has been teasing Ric Flair signing with AEW, but apparently there's still no movement in that regard. Do you think AEW still? I mean, I know it's been a few weeks or months since the whole, behind the mat, or what's it called? The Vice thing?
Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Ring came out. Do you think enough has died down to where they could sign Ric Flair?
I think that has probably died down a little bit, but I mean, look, as legendary as Ric Flair is, I personally don't see him bringing any kind of use to AEW, at least not like long term. Like maybe short term, they might bring him in for an appearance or two, but like signing him to like a multi-year contract, I don't see the benefit in that personally. That's just
me. There probably is not much benefit to that, but I think it's another way for Tony to unzip his pants, pull out his wong, and wave it at Vince.
Yeah, you're right. That is that is another good way to do that by signing Ric Flair. But I think Tony Khan has plenty of other ammunition to pull out his dick and wave it at Vince for. So
when he signs William Regal.
Oh yeah, that would be a bigger signing than getting Ric Flair, in my opinion, for Tony Khan.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, another one in the books, brother.
Yes, sir, bro. We had a lot to talk about today, man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We had a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, make sure you help your boys out. If you like what we do, if you like the podcast, make sure you use our Amazon affiliate link. It's an easy way to support the show with no extra cost to you. All you got to do is go to tinyurl.com/Amazon AMP, Amazon AMP. When you get it there, make sure you go ahead and bookmark it on your browser, whether that's on your phone or your computer. And every time you go to Amazon, make sure you hit our link because they're going to pay us a little commission every time that you buy something there. So it's a great way to help out the podcast. Make sure you follow us on your favorite social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. We're there. Just search AMP Wrestling Podcast. All right, Patrick. I think you know the deal.
Outro.
You've been listening to the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast with David Boston and Patrick Fry. All opinions discussed in the show are those of Average Marks and do not represent any wrestling company, organization, or individual. This has been a Lake Area Media, LLC production.